6:15, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Katharine Pereira and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. Sri Lanka and France pledged to bolster relations in the inaugural bilateral consultations. Minister of Agriculture says that the agricultural sector will be uplifted while introducing crop varieties suited for the climatic change. 1,500 midwives to be recruited immediately. Japan's destroyer Akebono arrives at the Trincomalee harbour. In news overseas, Kazakhstan mine fire leaves at least 21 dead. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the local news. Sri Lanka and France convened the inaugural bilateral consultations between the foreign ministries of the two countries at a senior official level earlier this week in Colombo. The consultations were part of the celebrations of the 75th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and France on the 27th of October 1948. Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry said consultations focused on strengthening bilateral relations, supporting the ongoing work on existing projects and initiatives, and identifying new areas of partnership and coordinated actions between the two countries. The consultations reflected on the desire expressed by President Ranil Wickremesinghe and President Emmanuel Macron during their meeting in Colombo on the 28th of July 2023 to strengthen the partnership between the two countries. The two parties reviewed progress on the political relations, security, cultural cooperation, and people-to-people contracts. They expressed their shared commitment to the value of freedom, democracy, human rights, and rule of law. Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amaraveera says that the agricultural sector in the country will be uplifted while introducing crop varieties suited for the climatic changes. He made these remarks while participating in a summit on SAARC regional cultural developments held at Gatame yesterday. He also stated that the new technology will be used to enhance the harvest of the agricultural products. 6 books on the development of agriculture were also presented to the minister at the meeting. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. Finance State Minister Ranjit Siamalapitiya said that it has been decided to expedite the recruitment of 1,500 family health service officers who were limited to an interview only. Accordingly, the Management Services Department has informed that a specific decision on the relevant recruitments will be made in the next few days. The minister said this during a discussion held at the Finance Ministry with the officials of the Government Family Health Services Officers Association. According to a Gazette notification published in January 2021, the relevant interviews had been conducted. It is to provide 2,500 new appointments to the family health services, but it was revealed that only 1,000 of them are currently undergoing training and the rest are still awaiting for jobs. The National Building Research Organisation says that the pre-landslide warnings have been issued to several districts until 3 p.m. Accordingly, Katuwana and Valasmulla area in the Hambantota district and several areas in the Ratnapura district have been issued pre-landslide warnings. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. Sri Lanka and France pledged to bolster relations at the inaugural bilateral consultations. Minister of Agriculture says that the agricultural sector will be uplifted while introducing crop varieties suited for the climatic change. 1,500 midwives to be recruited immediately. Japan's destroyer Akebono arrives at the Trincomalee harbour. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The main news story for this evening, Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force destroyer Akebono DD-108 arrived at Trincomalee harbour on an official visit today. Upon her arrival, the ship was welcomed by Sri Lanka Navy in accordance with the naval traditions. The 150.5-meter-long destroyer serves in the JMSDF and is manned by 172 crew members. She is commanded by the commander Hasiato Tokowa, who is also expected to call on commander of the Eastern Naval Area, Rear Admiral Suresh Chand headquarters. During the ship's stay, the crew will take part in several programs organized by Sri Lanka Navy with a view to promoting cooperation and goodwill between the two navies. In addition, they are also expected to go on sightseeing excursions as well. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Vedamahatmya.
In Washlai this evening, the Consular Affairs Division of the Foreign Ministry has set up 2 emergency hotline mobile numbers for Sri Lankan nationals. This is to contact the ministry and to seek assistance in connection with the present conflict situation in the Middle East. The hotline numbers are as follows: 0094 711 757 536 or 711 466 585. That came to you in Watchlight, and now let's move on to the headlines of the world news. Kazakhstan mine fire leaves at least 21 dead. People in Gaza uncontrollable and uncontactable and all communications down as Israel intensifies bombing. Spanish church sexual abuse affect 200,000 children, the commission finds out. Those were the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the world news. At least 21 people have died in a fire in a mine in Kazakhstan owned by steel giant ArcelorMittal. The blaze came on the same day Kazakh's President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev ordered an investment in the company to be halted as he wants it to be nationalized. A further 23 of the 252 people who were working at the Cosento mine are still missing. ArcelorMittal Tomato is a local unit of the company, said so far 18 people have been given medical treatment, and the president, who expressed condolences to the victims and families, has distanced his cabinet from the company. There has been intense Israeli bombardment of Gaza by air, heavier than the previous evenings, while all internet and phone communications appear to be out in the territory. Israel has confirmed its forces are expanding their ground operation. The Internet Monitoring Service NetBlocks posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, to say there had been a collapse in connectivity. The Palestinian Red Crescent says it cannot speak to its teams in Gaza. We are deeply concerned about the ability of our teams and to continue providing their emergency medical services, especially since the disruption affects the Central Emergency Number 101, they wrote on a post on X. More than 200,000 children are estimated to have suffered sexual abuse from Spain's Catholic clergy, an independent commission has found. The details emerged from an unprecedented public investigation by Spain's ombudsman, who spoke on the devastating impact on victims. Angel Gabilondo said he also criticized the church for its inaction and attempts to cover up and to deny the abuse. What has happened has been possible because of their silence, he said. And that was the world news.
Development news.
In development news, 7 economic development projects are being implemented in the Galle district. Attention has been paid on local food security program and the road development projects. 4.7 million rupees will be spent for the implementation of the projects. And that came to you in the segment of development news.
Sports news is brought to you by Shakti. Refresh your mind and body. Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
Moving on to sports news, the 27th match of the World Championship Cricket Tournament is being played in India between Australia and New Zealand. Batting first, Australians were all out for 388. The New Zealand team scored 263 for the loss of 4 wickets at the end of their 36th over a short while ago. And still in cricket, English players are feeling the heat after their poor performances at the World Cup in India, says assistant coach Marcus Tredosick. England has lost 4 of their 5 games so far, meaning that their title defense is effectively over. They will play unbeaten host India in Lucknow on Sunday, 3 days from their defeat by Sri Lanka in Bengaluru. There is the sports news, business news coming up.
Shakti. Refresh your mind and body. Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new all-new NSB Ithru account. NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
A Georgian business delegation paid a visit to Sri Lanka's Export Development Board recently to enhance trading opportunities with Sri Lankan agricultural sector. EDB Chairman and CEO Dr. Kingsley Bernard welcomed the delegation and extended his appreciation for visiting Sri Lanka to boost commercial and business ties between the two countries. Georgia was Sri Lanka's 91st export destination in the year 2022, and Sri Lanka's exports value to Georgia was $5.02 million, representing a 22.45% increase compared to the year 2021, reflecting a growing potential for Sri Lankan products in the Georgian market. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth ekata life ekේ change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship ekata menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account. NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, Expo Lanka Holdings PLC said yesterday it has successfully navigated through the challenging market conditions, demonstrating resilience and adaptability while focusing on long-term strategy. In a statement, Expo Lanka said the second quarter for the financial year 2024 is reported a revenue of 61.5 billion rupees with a gross profit of 12 billion rupees. That was economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report.
And finally, the weather report. Atmospheric conditions are favorable for the development of afternoon thunder showers. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in most provinces in the island after 2 p.m. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and Uva provinces during the morning hours as well. And before we conclude the bulletin, let's get back to the headlines once again. Sri Lanka and France pledged to bolster relations at the inaugural bilateral consultations. Minister of Agriculture says that the agricultural sector will be uplifted while introducing crop varieties suited for the climatic change. 1,500 midwives to be recruited immediately. A Japanese destroyer Akebono arrives at the Trigamali harbour. And in news overseas, Kazakhstan mine fire leaves at least 21 dead. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. And now it's back to Yogaraj to continue with the rest of the evening.